Okay, hello everybody. Thank you for your really effort to join us in Saturday morning. So we are starting our third final day of our international conference on analysis of images from social networks and tests, which is going in hybrid format. Part of participants are here in Georgia and Tbilisi. Other people joined us via modern telecom technologies using Zoom. And today we will have 3 invited speakers from industry. And I asked each of them to focus more on tasks rather than solutions, which challenges and interesting topics and interesting goals they can suggest to researchers in the area of data science. And then we will conclude with a roundtable related to social challenges and ethical issues of data science, which will be the final event of our conference. So let me introduce our first speaker, Iosif Itkin, CEO and co-founder of Exactpro, and he will speak on software testing and natural language processing. Please, Iosif.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the introduction, Rostislav. Hello, everyone, and good morning. Thanks a lot for joining us today. My name is Iosif Itkin. I am CEO and co-founder of Exactpro. And today I'll talk a little bit about Exactpro, about myself, about software testing, about NLP-assisted software testing, and relevant data sets that are available for this research. So Exactpro is a proud sponsor of AIST conference. We work with clients, mission-critical financial services, market infrastructures, exchanges, clearinghouses in more than 20 countries all over the world, on all continents, from Sydney to Toronto, from Johannesburg to London. We've delivered quite substantial projects in this area and continue to work with exchanges and clearinghouses. In particular, we helped Airbus Skytra to work on their NASDAQ-based platforms. We helped many other exchanges to produce resilient, high-performant, and innovative systems. The work of Exactpro in software testing area is received multiple awards for tools, our processes, and for people who work in Exactpro systems. Personally, I am managing Exactpro operations. Please feel free to contact me if you have any questions. Apart from that, I am also representing the company in Zero Outage Industry Standard and work as the head of LOST, Laboratory of Software Testing at Tomsk Polytechnic University, and also participate in several industry working groups related to software testing. I am very proud by the fact that I've managed to participate in 6 AIST conferences in 2013, 2014, 16, 17, 18, and today. It is truly a pleasure, and I'm very happy that such conference exists, and we hope to support it going forward. So now a brief overview of software testing. So if you go to Google Scholar and type software testing, the top 3 links will refer to software testing as art, as craft and as research. So where is software testing belong on this continuum from art to craft, science, engineering? It is a complex question. Different people have different answers to that. In particular, some software testing schools refer to it as art. Some test tools vendors refer to it as engineering. To better understand it, we are trying to look at the definition of science and engineering and to compare these two processes. There is an interesting book related to nanotechnology. It is called Radical Abundance. And there it compares two distinct processes, scientific inquiry and engineering design. So engineering design is turning some abstract model or design concept into something useful, into a physical system. And scientific inquiry has an anti-parallel flow of information where we take information from where we are trying to obtain information about the object of our study, about the physical system. We compare it against our model and we gradually improve our model of reality. So both science and engineering are very important, but they are different because information flows in two different directions. Software testing is exploring software with the intent of finding bugs. Software testing is an empirical technical investigation conducted to provide stakeholders with information about the quality of the product or service under test. And quality is how product or service satisfies the needs, brings value to good stakeholders, or how it brings value to bad stakeholders. So software testing is exploratory process, research activity. And there is a relation between software testing and software development similar to relations between science and engineering. Development is turning specification into a useful product. And software testing is studying software. So software testing is research related to studying software and turning it into the model of software. Obtaining understanding of your technology assets. Warren Buffett said, never invest in a business you cannot understand. And as software is a substantial part of financial assets within every modern company, understanding software is very important. Also, software is eating the world and everything around us will soon be software. So understanding it is the task of utmost importance for humanity in as a whole and for many individuals in particular. It is very important to build a more better ways of understanding software that we build, that we operate, and any additional research that can improve software testing will certainly have a positive impact on society. Software testing can also be referred to as journalism. So we are studying, instead of studying society or reality, we're studying software and report if there is something of interest. So the same body of research that is present for journalism can be potentially applied to software testing. Software testing is also sometimes referred as magic, and we are trying to build something magical in Exactpro to support software testing. So the most cited research on software testing is called software testing research, achievements, challenges, and dreams. It is the paper created in 2007, and it focuses on the roadmap for software testing research. If you will be ever interested to learn more, it is, I would say, a good starting point. In Exactpro, we recognize that there are three main pillars of software testing. There are processes, platforms, and people. And we are on a constant quest of finding better ways. So finding better processes, building better platforms, and looking for software testers, researchers that can support managed software testing. Now we turn into NL, natural language processing, part of my presentation. So the state of the art in this area is outlined in the paper from 2018. So it was published last year, but it contains information up to 2017. Researchers reviewed 67 papers related to NLP assisted software testing. Software testing is an exploratory research process. So it is not possible to replace it with a tool or something like that to the same extent as we are not yet able to replace science and research with a single tool. On the other hand, we can use a variety of tools and processes to support research, and NLP is not an exception. So the paper outlines the key areas where NLP might be useful. It also contains a Google spreadsheet with details of all 67 papers, and also some papers that were not included into this list. So I do think it is a very good starting point. To check what happened after 2017, and my humble contribution, it shows that the number of research papers in the area NLP and software testing gradually grows, but it is not an exponential growth, but I would say more or less linear increase. I have not yet understood why NLP and software testing are so unpopular in IEEE, but ICM follows what is observed in Google Scholar in general. But I think the last two slides shows that it makes sense to prepare a systematic literature review for 2018-2021. So for the last 4 years, it will certainly be a good idea and worth a resource allocation. Now going into the data sets and areas where natural language processing might be useful. They are requirement specifications. So we start with defining what we would like to obtain from the system specification. In many cases, they are written in human natural language. Then we turn our requirements into test scenarios, test libraries that represent an executable model of the system. So we describe what we plan to do with the system, how we plan to explore it, and what are our expectations from the exploration. So test libraries usually available in various forms, but there is a strong natural language component there as well. Once we start the exploration, the data is collected and in a form of log files and traces. There can be, once again, parts in natural language or in format, but it would be fair to say that it is mostly a combination of both technical data and data about errors, warnings, etc. Once we detected something strange, it can be characterized as a defect when something decreases the value of the system to good stakeholders. And usually this is managed as a set of defect descriptions of detected anomalies, because defect descriptions are created for other people to fix, for software developers, project managers, etc. They are all in natural language. And then when you deal with mission critical systems, if you were not able to detect particular defects before the system went into the live service, it is very likely that you'll discover news in newspapers about the outage experienced by the high-profile systems. So it is the last data set that we believe is very interesting to explore. And a few examples probably on this one. So requirements engineering part is I would say is the most researched one. Please have a look at the systemic literature review published this year. It outlines, it contains references to quite a lot of research papers related to applying NLP to requirements specifications and trying to support and assist software testing and software development in one way or another. So I would say that this one is in a better shape from research perspective comparing to other four. There is a strong correlation between problems in specification and the problems in the software. When there are any ambiguity or any inconsistencies or any errors in requirements, they will certainly result in software defects later on. So sooner or later, when the software is there, if there were any problems in specification, they will result in outages, defects, and fixing requirements before or earlier in software development life cycle allows to save money because it is easier to change a document comparing to changing the end product. In Exactpro, we've spent some time exploring, identifying ambiguities in the body of specifications. We're also trying to collect publicly available technical specs and requirements from all exchanges across the globe to serve as a data set. The next one is test libraries. And here I would like to tell about some work that we do in laboratory of software testing and in Exactpro. We support IEEE autonomous driving AI test challenge. So we've created a test course for it, and it is based on our motto: build software to test software. So build some part of software to test another part of software. In this particular case, it is building a simulator of and using a simulator of the road to test autonomous vehicle, and vice versa. It is possible to use autonomous vehicle as a test for the simulator. So the lectures and seminars for the course are available in YouTube. We expect that the conference organizers will repeat the challenge next year, and we are looking forward to develop the course in the laboratory. But if you are more into NLP, I recommend to have a look at the following paper: generating effective test cases for self-driving cars from police reports. So police reports describe something that went wrong. And it is a nice idea to convert this specification from text description into scenarios for simulators, self-driving car and road simulators. So it's just an illustration on how natural language processing can be used in to support and to assist in software testing. Then on the next one, on the log files area, we do have some publications related to processing log files, and I think there is some body of research available out there to try and to structure log files and to extract information from massive sets of traces produced by the systems under test. The next data set is software defects. So when you have a small system, small testing team, usually you have a small number of software defects. When you have a huge platform and you have very good software testing teams, they can produce tens of thousands of software defects over the years. Not produce, but discover. And the databases of defects written in natural language represent a perfect data set to apply NLP to find information to help create scenarios, predict resolution times, prioritize defects during triages, etc. So we do some research in this area, but it is in no way completed. So we do look for additional assistance in this area. In Exactpro, we believe that defects are a very important asset. They are like genes for the software. They help to understand how the system operates, and they help to understand the software. Oh, okay, and the last one, of course, when the test team is incapable of catching particular defect, it goes into production. If the system is high profile, we can read it in newspapers. We are trying to structure a project in Exactpro for processing large volumes of news articles to extract information relevant to software outages, and we are looking for students or PhD students who might be interested to proceed with this research. If you find software testing interesting, there is a number of research conferences. Most of them have deadlines in January. The top ones are ICST, IEEE testing, AIST, and there is another one if you are not afraid of spending a few weeks in a COVID concentration camp. There is a nice requirements engineering conference in Melbourne next year. Thank you very much for your time, and I'm happy to take questions if there are any. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Iosif, for perfect timing, just exactly in time. So we still have time for a couple of questions, and can you please open chat in case someone has questions in chat? And meanwhile, I have a couple of questions myself. Can you please open a slide with when you compare research to testing, these two anti-parallel trends?
Software, this one?
Yes. So I really like this analogy. So you say that development is more, okay, it's not more, it's really engineering.
Yes.
And software testing is more like research. And that's really funny to think about that. Surely you have kind of research journals, right, which are backtracking systems. And definitely you agree with the slogan "publish or perish," right? That software tester must write down everything he or she finds in the system, right? So
yes.
Or perish.
So if software testing is information service similar to science. So if you are not sharing anything with the world, you are not doing science. So any activities that does not result in software defects is not software testing. In uncovering software defects is not software testing. Very frequently, we hear about automated tools, automated libraries that run in unattended fashion, that support DevOps, etc. If they are not able to uncover new software defects, they have a limited value and they do not stand for the software testing. So, and it's the same for science. If you are able to discover something new, you are doing science. If you are not able to do it, there's probability that at the very best you are doing engineering. At the very best.
Okay, well then the question: what is analog of research conference in software testing? Do you have events when software testers meet and share bugs?
It is called defect triage, where you submit defect reports and people review them and perform peer review and says that it is not a bug, it is it is a feature. Yes.
Nice. Okay, thank you. And another question: can you open the list of data sets? You had like 5.
Absolutely.
5 different topics, and yes, this one. And the 4 of them look quite natural, like requirements, test libraries, log files, bug description, because this is part of the technical world, right? They are created by engineers, testers, developers, whatever. But the 5th one is kind of, for me, it's kind of unexpected, because, okay, it's a different world. News are written by journalists and, okay, some completely non-technical people. And why that could be useful for software testing? I mean, this kind of research.
Well, essentially, they contain these news articles. They contain how the world perceives the failure of software testing process. So it is a natural outcome of deficiencies that we have in testing, and studying what were the common patterns is a good idea. Another thing is to look at databases related to regulatory fines. For example, to study SEC or FCA fines against brokers or exchanges related to technical glitches and outages. Usually these are quite long documents, but they should contain the same patterns that can be used to improve testing going forward. So learning what went wrong is the foundation of building more resilient systems in the future.
Do I understand you correctly that usually technical information is under NDA, right, non-disclosure agreement, but news kind of disclose your information about different customers over the world, so you can get additional information, right, which usually is hidden from you.
It is possible to discover what can possibly go wrong. Yes, so I believe it is interesting. The more software we will have around us, the more news we will receive about software outages. So it is important area of research for sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
One more question. Wait. Yes. Лучше выйти сюда, да. Yes. If you stand here, then people will see you.
It's nice. You talk about discovery defects in requirements, and it's very important task in software management. And not only testing, whole software management. And is there any industry solution for analyzing requirements and building, maybe automatically building the ontology for domain of requirements, or this only research level?
I'm not aware of any industry standard tool that is used across at least companies that we work with, but there are many tools, some of them open source, some of them are proprietary, in particular referred in this literature review that are related to studying requirements and trying to find deficiencies in the requirements text. For example, there are things that some words have particular heavy weight in making specification ambiguous or combinations of words. And of course, there is, so I think requirements research is the most researched one from these 5 directions. But maybe for the good reason, because if you have a problem at the very beginning, it affects not just software testing, but as correctly pointed, it affects software development, software business analysis, everything. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So let me pass.
Okay, yes, time. Thank you again, Iosif. And our next speaker, yes, I see you're here, Aleksandr Simeonov. And Iosif was kind of part of financial technology industry. And Aleksandr now is from rather different part of the world. And he will speak about game development and data science applications in game development, gaming, everything else. Aleksandr, can you share your slides? Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Great. I'll share my slides then. So, do you see my slides?
Sbergames, data science of game. Yes. So you have combination of Russian and English. Perfect. Thank you.
Actually, I got like 10 minutes to change everything from Russian to English. I did like 80% of change, but in some places there are still Russian words. So I'm sorry, I forgot. My name is Aleksandr. I'm head of R&D department of Sbergames, and here is the plan for my talk today. At first, I'll tell you a short history of Sbergames company, and it's really related to this conference, thanks to Rostik. Then there will be a short overview of hot stuff in machine learning, deep learning, reinforcement learning, NLP in game development, and I will tell and show you how it is used in our company. So some short history of Sbergames. It started, not the company, but the history. Started, I believe, in 2015 at this conference when I met Piotr Romov, who worked at Yandex at that time. And I was really into data analysis of Dota 2 cyber sport game. And I told him that there is lots of interesting stuff to analyze there. He got really interested, and we did a lot of stuff in this area. For example, the next year we published a paper with a review of ML algorithms for match outcome prediction in Dota 2. I checked yesterday. It's the most cited paper, and I'm not sure, but it was one of the most cited papers in the articles from this conference. After that, we did lots of interesting stuff, including hackathon for Shanghai Major, which was a huge cyber sport event related to Dota 2. And there was an event called Data Fest in Mail.ru, one of the largest internet companies in Russia. And what we did was a competition where participants needed to predict in real time which of the two teams is going to win the game. And we stayed there overnight. We were watching the games on the huge screen in the main lobby of Mail.ru, and it was really fun experience. There was like 37 teams and so on. And as I was also SMM guy for this stuff, I was posting it to Twitter, and once I got a message from representative of Alisa Chumachenko. Alisa Chumachenko is a very famous person in game dev. She was one of the creators of Game Insight company, and she is one of the most known Russian person in game development. So we started discussing what can be done in this area, and some months later, she found out a startup called Goso AI. Piotr joined this startup. They made at first they made system with statistics for gamers. So you finished playing your game, and you can see all the relevant stats about your performance, play style, and so on, ways to improve your skill, and so on. And after some experiments, they came to the voice assistant tool, which was basically a mobile client and desktop client. So desktop client got the information from the current state of the game for the player, and from the mobile told him some useful things he can do at this moment in the game. So this company was sold to our largest bank, Sber, in March this year, and it turned to Sbergames. So, but besides voice assistant, Goso AI were also making some research for game development companies. For example, they optimized the retention metric, which basically says the probability that the person who entered the game this day, if he will return the next day or 7 days later, and so on. And they did it with the smart push technology. So they basically learned at which moment a person is active based on the data from his phone and from his game, and started sending pushes to return a person to the game at the right time. And it increased day one retention like 2 times, I believe. Besides that, they made an experiment with matchmaking for a really famous and large company. They calculated the estimated value in like millions of dollars, but for some reasons it wasn't implemented. So they decided why, if the game development companies are not ready for machine learning, why don't we do it ourselves? So when they designed the Sbergames company, they decided that data analysis, machine learning, deep learning, and stuff like this will be the core of creation for games, not like stuff that may be done or maybe not done. So current state of my department is called R&D, although it contains mostly data scientists who do the, machine learning, AI stuff. In the world, almost all the largest game creators have their own R&D groups. They spent around 10% of their revenue on the R&D, but this R&D does not include only AI stuff. So everything related to better graphics is also in R&D. So I couldn't find the exact numbers for only data science related stuff. So talking about machine learning, the basic task in game development is scoring players. And the holy grail of scoring players is paying user, because you always need to know if a person will convert to be a paying user in order to calculate your unit economics, to understand if you spend your marketing efficiently, and so on. So it's basically a binary classification based on his first time playing the game. Our first models were based on 24 hours of user time in the game. However, we managed to make models based on his first 4 hours in the game, and the models were not much less precise. Another popular measure to score in game development is churn or retention. However, it is easier to score, because if you want to predict if a person will return the next day, the average retention of 1 day retention is about 20%. So your target in your data set will be 20% of ones and 80% of zero. So for binary classifier, it's not that difficult task. However, if you want to score if a person will be a paying person, usually the percent of players who convert to be paying players is around 1 or 3%. So the percentage of ones in your target is like 1%. Models are not really precise, and so business likes models for paying users more. However, it's easier to make churn and retention models. And currently, I'm discussing this problem with a guy who was head of analytics in one of the game development companies for 7 years, and he said that he only knows 2 companies that can turn retention or churn model into money. So it's really non-trivial thing for this model to be explained to business and to be turned into money. Regression is mostly used for 2 main metrics in game development and product analytics. It's lifetime
Okay, sorry, looks like we had some technical problems. We are back, and I hope you too. So, Aleksandr, please continue just from this point.
Yeah, I guess I was talking about regression problems, and for regression, there are two main numbers to predict. It's lifetime of a user, of a player, and lifetime value of a player. So if you know how much time he will spend in your game, and if you know how much money he will leave in your game, you can calculate lifetime value of this person. And this is basically the main metric of not only game development, but in application development, user product analytics, and so on. So with LTV, you can rule the world in game development. And there is consensus about the recommendations of pushes and offers for a player. So I spoke to 4 persons, not only from our company, and everybody says the same. If we manage to recommend the right offer for a player, we will make everybody really happy. So this scenario is simple. A person plays a game. He is like, maybe he is about to leave it or not, and we need to send him some package with the right amount of stuff for the right price at the right time, so he purchase it and stay in the game longer. So we already did the models for paying users and churn. There is no magic in that. It's binary classifications. Lifetime and lifetime value are a bit trickier because we are starting a marketing company soon, and we are starting it from scratch. We have no data, so we like in 3 days we will have 3 points for ARPU of users, and we need to identify which marketing channel is good and which marketing channel is not. So basically it's like regression with 3 points, 4 points, 5 points, and at the beginning it's there is not really much you can do. And the most promising area of classical machine learning is recommendations of pushes and offers for gamers. As I've said, before Goso AI turned into Sbergames, one of its successful projects was making smart pushes at right time, so players return to the game. And about some experimental stuff, there was an article by my friend whom I meet at the same AIST conference in, I believe, 2015. Dmitry Babayev, he currently works in Sber too. And this paper presented at KDD 2019. The method described in this paper was implemented in the bank itself, including the risk department, which says a lot about the quality of this approach. And the basic of this approach is that you score users without making a so-called customer 360 table. So there is not a wide table with features for each user. It basically takes events from users as an input to RNN, and it scores a user if he will return the loan or he will not. We tried this approach on our gaming data. We tried it for retention, 1-day retention prediction. Our model got area under the curve around 0.79. Their model had area under the curve 0.85. So this MVP is about to be implemented as a service in our company. The next area is deep learning. I will not talk much about this one because I believe if you are into if you are attending AIST, you should really know much more about it than me. So here I will highlight stuff that we are working on. Tencent is huge and the largest gaming company, telecom company in China, and owns some large game development companies. And we are looking at their experiments on turning 2D pictures into 3D assets, because we believe it will save some time for the designers. It's still experimental even in the Tencent, so we currently just read the papers, try some stuff from it. Another promising technology is implicit services to make 3D models. We're still reading this, thinking if we can start experimenting on it. And of course, NERF. I will not talk about NERF because Neural IPS finished recently, and as I heard, it was all about NERF. So we are looking on it too, because traditional way of turning real objects into 3D objects is really expensive, because you need expensive devices, expensive cameras. So it's obvious that without it, and with the help of neural networks, or even without neural networks, like a couple of days ago, there was a paper saying that you can use NERF even without neural networks. So we are still looking at this, haven't started this direction of research. Another one interesting area of research for deep learning in game development is search for bugs and glitches in the game. So Electronic Arts showed this presentation at a recent conference organized by NVIDIA, where they said that they take a small sample of glitches, like on the screen from the game, and the deep learning algorithm searches for similar glitches in the game itself, and it saves lots of time for real testers to do this. However, what we did is this. Business came to us, like marketing department came to us, and they said, we need some way to generate more ideas for icons of our games in mobile stores, because our competitors, they when they make their icons or thumbnails for their games, they use A/B tests, and we are sure that the thumbnail they used is the most efficient according to A/B testing. So we need a fast way to get ideas how the icon for these particular genres should look like, for the designer to draw the better looking icon. So we downloaded like 100,000 thumbnails of all the applications in Google Play. We took the racing games genre. It was like 5,000 icons there. We trained StyleGAN, and we showed it to business. And it was really, really interesting to see the reaction from the business, because at first I showed it to the designer, and she said like, well, you know, it doesn't help really much. So it's kind of ugly. I need to draw it again, so it doesn't help. However, her boss, the producer of the games, he said, wait a minute. For a really good designer, it takes like a lot of time to choose the best games in the category, to look at the icons, to decide which background, which color of the car to use, what to do. And like in 3 days, he makes 3 prototypes. But here, the neural network can learn from the best icons in the genre, which background to use, which kind of car, which color of car, and so on. We can make 10 of these pictures in seconds. We can choose which we like the most, and we can show it to a student of graphical design and tell him, just draw this one, like, but good looking. So I was really skeptical about this project, but when the business itself said this, we can work with this, I was like, oh, it's really cool. This is the largest part of slide that I didn't have time to turn into English, but mostly it says that Ubisoft, Electronic Arts are using reinforcement learning to generate levels in their games and to train bots to test the levels in their games. The links are down there, so I guess by watching the videos on the YouTube, you will get the whole idea of how really large game development companies apply reinforcement learning now. What are we doing? There is a really popular game, Candy Crush Saga. It's match 3 genre. Everybody knows this type of games. And they published a paper showing their approach to testing the game with reinforcement learning. For example, I heard that large game development companies have a whole department of like 50 people whose only task is to play a game and to evaluate the difficulty of each level. A match 3 game can have like 4,000 levels, 2,000 levels. So we decided, well, if we can make a human-like agent, not ultimate agent that solves any level in the best way possible, but an agent that acts like a person, we can replace the department we still don't have. And at this moment, we wrote a gem in Python for match 3. We trained a DQN network, and we are moving towards 3 tasks. First task is making a human-like agent, so we can easily evaluate the difficulty of the level. And why do business need it? It's really simple. Business need to know which levels are hard, so they can take your money. So they can take their money from your pocket. So when they one in each like 5 or 10 levels, they add a level to complete which you need just one more move. So yeah, you almost did it, and you're like, okay, I'll buy this booster and I'll finish this level. So it's really essential to know which level in match 3 is like almost solvable by human, and so it's really important task, and we are moving for it. And beside this, we are trying to make generate fields for match 3 and make ultimate optimal agent to make suggestions for a player, like hint him what move to do next. Natural language processing is the last part. As I've told you, Gosu AI started when it founded Market Fit. It was about voice assistant. So naturally, they moved towards understanding what a player is asking and giving him relevant answers, question answering. And Another areas of NLP which are popular in game development is fight with toxicity. Everybody is interested in it. Alisa Chumachenko recently made an entire speech about it, and we made a small research for her. And another promising area is plot and NPC speech generation. So you speak to NPC like you speak to Alexa, Alisa, and so on. And actually, I tried Dungeons and Dragons generated by artificial intelligence yesterday, and I never played Dungeons and Dragons like at the table, but playing it with artificial intelligence was really fun. So what we did right now, the idea is really simple. All the popular games have their version of Wikipedia. So this Wikipedia has all the relevant statistic information about heroes and so on and so on. And we made a model which understands a question that is asked. It's, of course, it's BERT-like model. So currently it searches for the answer in this parsed Wikipedia text. But we are moving towards make it like two-stage model. First model looks for the best paragraph where the answer may be, and the second model searches for the answer in this paragraph. So we made a corridor test for our first model. And we made a simple web interface, and somebody asked, how many bounces does Chain Frost have? Chain Frost is a skill of one hero in Dota 2. It's called Leech, and it basically he throws bounces several times between enemies. And as you can see on the screenshot from the from the Wikipedia, this ball bounces 10 times. So our answer was, the answer from our model was 10, and the person who asked this question considered it to be the right answer. So our corridor test showed that 42% of answers by these models were considered to be the right ones by the people who asked it. This number might look a bit small. However, these people who asked these questions were not instructed in which questions the model understand at the moment. The model had some limitations. People asked questions out of these limitations, and however, 42% of answers were right. So I believe it's not a bad result. And the last thing I was going to tell about today, as I've told you, our CEO Alisa Chumachenko made a speech, a presentation a couple of weeks ago about toxicity in online games, and we did a really fast-paced research for her. We had like a weekend, and the model was scoring the data for 42 hours. So we got the results like in 2 a.m. before the day she gave the speech. So we had the data from 1 million games in Dota 2. It was gathered in 2018 by Piotr, about which I told you in the beginning. We used detoxify model to score the words, and it showed that more than 18% of each phrase contained this or that type of toxicity. It's like threats, identity attack, profanity, insults, sexual related stuff, and so on. Perhaps we will continue this line of research. I know that Sasha Panchenko is doing work in this area. So it was like fast research. However, we might turn it into paper later. So to summarize it, classical machine learning, we are scoring the traditional game development metrics like retention, conversion to paying users. We predicting the lifetime value, and we are going to make recommendations for pushes and for offers. Deep learning, we made an MVP with a style gun for thumbnails. And we are planning to continue this work with Rudali because we're part of the same ecosystem. Reinforcement learning, we wrote a gym and trained the DQN reinforcement learning model to test the difficulty level of each match 3 games. And in terms of NLP, we made a model that can answer question about Dota 2 game, and we plan to apply this framework for other popular games too. So the framework is simple. We parse all the data from gaming Wikipedias, we train the model, and so on and so on. And as a byproduct, we made a research on toxicity in Dota 2. As far as I know, it's the only research of this kind in Dota 2 on such large numbers and with a BERT-like model. And we are hiring. Soon we will need a person who will be responsible for a recommendation engine, because the site games.ru is owned by us. It will be our marketplace, and we will need someone to make recommendations for this site. And maybe later we will have a senior position for senior and in some future team lead position for the department for all these tasks. That's all I got for you. I'm waiting for your questions.
Thank you, Aleksandr. Fantastic presentation. I myself play games sometimes, and the story you told me is exactly what I experienced quite recently, that just one move was not enough.
It's a special, it has a special term in the game development. I forgot it.
Okay,
Never mind, maybe I'll come up with it.
So questions are welcome, and I wonder if anyone has question so far. I have one. Can you please open a slide with machine learning? Yes, this one. So now I work as the top manager in a university, and what's listed here is very similar to the problems I deal with every day. Because if you just replace pain with pain attention or pain time, and users replace with students, then you exactly get the headache of every university teacher, manager, whoever. Because students don't really like to pay attention to their courses. And the retention is another problem. Many even smart and brilliant students just drop education for some reasons, we don't know why. Lifetime is exactly a term from education now, because we are interested in a lifetime education, so that we really expect people to return for some additional courses, for some updates, etc. And recommendations also our topic, because currently there is a hype on personalized tracks related to education. So
the same here for player difficulty. Yes.
Yes. Yes, because different students need different difficulty of courses. So probably we need to meet separately just to discuss, because I see a lot of intersection here. Okay, thank you for this, just taking this slide.
Yeah, LT and LTV for me are the most hard, because when it's early, you don't have enough data, and I'm thinking towards survival analysis maybe to solve this problem, but if you have any suggestions, you're welcome.
Okay. Questions?
Hello, everyone.
Yes, hello, Alexey.
I All right, Rostislav. I have a very convenient question for me. How do you label data? Or you already have labeled?
For which tasks?
For any. No, you can answer depending on.
Well, for scoring, it's obvious you have a database with events from the game, and SQL answers your question whether this person made any payment like in 24 hours or so. For churn, SQL, basically for machine learning, SQL generates your training data set and target, and all you need to do is make different queries for different targets, and it's trivial. So deep learning we haven't tried yet. This one, the place where we downloaded these thumbnails, it already had the categories. So task was trivial. This one we wrote a gym. There is nothing to label, I guess. This one, there is a department of people who, yes, they use label studio. So they label typical questions about heroes, about their abilities, and the model is trained on this labeled data set. And as I told you, 42% of right answers is, I call it corridor testing. So it's like really small sample of people whom I showed it from my mobile phone and asked their question myself, or a couple of people had the hyperlink to the service to test it. And for NLP tasks, there is a department of people who label the texts.
I see. I see. Thanks. Maybe another one question. So it would be also interesting to know: do you control quality of these labels, or you just believe that they come with totally truly answers for you, for your department? I mean, because there might be some noise in labels or incorrect labels, and in this case, your models will learn something not correct.
Yeah, I checked the whole output of early versions of training stage. There were some mistakes made by coders. Yeah, we know about this problem. But for me, the NLP part is like it's a product I deal least with, because it's the product that has most of the people. So Sbergames started from Ghost AI agent, and most of the people moved to this project, so they have their processes arranged, everything works. So I don't dive deeply into this project. I share my expertise in Dota 2, but I'm not too much familiar with their processes, but I believe they, of course, they check themselves.
Okay, thank you for the answer.
Thank you, Alexey, for the questions. And okay, like everybody already got it, we are gradually transforming from topic of games to topic of crowdsourcing and labeling. So our next speaker is Alexey Drutsa from Yandex. And can you please share your slides?
So yeah, I need to get the ability to show slides because
Aleksandr, we still see your chat. Probably you need to somehow. Yes, stop now. Now looks like it stopped.
Но мы матом там не ругались, так что there is no.
Slides.
Yes.
Do you see my slides? Cool.
Yes.
So hello, my name is Alexey Drutsa. I'm the head of efficiency and growth division at Toloka. It is a department of Yandex. So I will have a talk about how we affect artificial intelligence and machine learning, especially in terms of how we offer some things for professionals that do machine learning and artificial intelligence. My talk will be some mix between some interesting things about machine learning, our business journey, and how we affect AI, and probably this talk will be also interesting for those who are interested in collaboration with us, or probably not collaboration, but building something to improve AI industry by using our instruments. So let's start. I will give a short context. So as previous author just said, there is in fact 3 pillars of artificial intelligence or machine learning. There are algorithms, hardware, and data. And these are fundamental pillars of AI. So, and you know probably that for algorithms, there was a lot of decades of research. We know a lot of technologies that we can use from scratch, and there is a lot of open source that we can use to apply some models, tune models, and something like that. Hardware is a part which is more complicated, but right now it's very easy to get hardware for your work because there is a lot of clouds, like international clouds, like Amazon Web Services, Azure from Microsoft, and there are also Yandex Cloud here, because you can just take your money, buy some GPUs for an hour, and you can get any computational facilities here. And there are also data. So for data, you usually you take your data, but there are some problems here. And my talk will be more concentrated about data. This concentration and focus on data is not only my efforts or my team or Yandex. In fact, this is a big movement, a trend in machine learning world. This trend is called data-centric AI, because previously, do you see my mouse? To understand, can I show some places in the slides or not?
At least I can see your mouse.
Great. So it's fine. So because previously, over past decades, most engineers that are related to automation, machine learning, AI, and etc., primarily have been concentrated on this part, on the part of improving models. But what we observed in our experience and what right now is trying to get the AI community is that quality of final machine learning instrument, machine learning product, machine learning service depends on all these 3 parts, where data has been significantly underestimated and understudied, because I can also explain some logic behind why we only now are ready to explore, study, and understand that data should be improved and be cared is on the same level as we care on the quality of machine learning. The explanation is very easy. So there is some growth of complexity from left to the right side. So when you work with algorithms, you work only with math abstractions. So it's very easy to improve something here because you just need a paper, some maybe notebook or something like that, and you just design some math. When you work with hardware, you have to work with world of physics. So you have some physics complexity. You have to solve how to build GPUs, how to build CPUs in the way that will be faster, more productive, and etc. But when you work with data are usually especially for supervised learning, are produced by humans. And when you work with humans, they are not subject, they are not objects, but they are subject people. So they have motivations, and thus you have to build and work in the world where there are some incentives, motives, and thus if you build some model, you have to take into account not some physics, some logic, but also a motivation, and this also somehow related to game theory. Okay, so this is a very short context. From Toloka is in fact some crowdsourcing platform, which is intelligent in the sense that we, on the one side, we have requesters, for instance, machine learning teams that post tasks and provide data to label. And on the other hand, we have people, which we call Tolokers. They execute tasks, get money for this task, and provide data back to machine learning teams. Toloka is a platform on top of this two-sided market, which use some intelligence, even artificial intelligence, to match tasks and then to provide the best quality that we can. The main point when we start to work with Toloka and build this product, we in fact state these 3 points. So the one is that AI production heavily rely on data. In many cases, this data can only be obtained by the human, so human labeling for supervision. And in fact, Toloka was designed to support needs of Yandex machine learning teams. So we built a product not from our willingness to build some products for somebody, but built from the needs of particular machine learning teams. So, and this is why this product has been built for professionals. And this is just quick statistic on our growing, how we're growing. So you can see that this growth is practically exponential, and we don't see any reason that this will stop. So just quick examples on how data labeling can be used, and this is a particular examples with our speech recognition technology that has been used in our voice assistant Alisa. So this is an example of task that we can conduct. So what we can create, for instance, a task for a bunch of people where one person pronounce a phrase, "Hey, Alisa." There is another group of people that conduct another task or execute another task where they verify that the phrase is correct, that the previous person really pronounced "Hey, Alisa." And we do this in some pipeline manner. So if there is no correct phrase, we return this task back and we ask this or another person to pronounce the phrase. And then we get final results to provide some machine learning or something like that. So a more complicated example, we also can talk that here we involve humans directly in machine learning pipelines. So this is a case of moderation, very common case in not only in Yandex, but in a lot of other external requesters for Toloka. Imagine that we have some machine learning system that moderate comments for blogs, for instance. And this machine learning can provide some level of confidence in his on her answer. And if the confidence level is very low, we ask people to provide the answer whether this particular comment violate or not some rules or not. And using these steps, we can get this level of confidence from humans, and we can provide the final verdict either by machine learning or by humans. And also we can use these labels to improve our machine learning system. So this is a very short example. In fact, right now, Toloka is using to cover vast majority of different cases. So this is a very short landscape of cases where we use data labeling under the hood of different technologies. You can see that we use Toloka in internet to improve search and some things in internet. We improve voice assistance. We improve right tech technologies. We improve e-commerce platforms, not only Yandex platforms, but I believe the most largest one in Russian market as well. We can use Toloka for biometry. We improve agri-tech, and for sure, one also important part of Toloka that Toloka is able to execute, and Tolokers can execute offline tasks. We call also these tasks as feet on the street. For instance, you can ask a person to go to some location in your city and ask him or her to take photos, for instance, to collect some opening hours of some organization or count the number of people that go through some place or something like that. Okay, so if we shortly can show you our Toloka product range. So in fact, Toloka is permanently evolving. And right now we see our product range in the following 3 pillars. So the first pillar is our platform, where you have a pure access to human power. You can use our platform as a programming language to build any pipeline as you want. So you can build everything if you understand what you want to label. So you can label it through Toloka. We also have another part of products that we right now call Toloka apps, but probably we will improve also wordings. But the idea here is that we build some boxes, some black boxes, and the box here we also have black box for this part. This product is about incorporations of some standard pipelines like text classification or image classification, where you put only your output and you upload the particular requirements. For instance, you upload a set of 1,000 of images. You say that you want to label cats or dogs on these images, and you provide very short descriptions on how you want to label these images, and then all other parts are executed on our side. So you just care about the speed and the quality. So you get some results without configuring the pipelines. And also we plan to offer some ML solutions. This will mean that we will provide some fine-tuned standard models for our clients. Another important point is that a year ago, we decided to conquer the world. So here you can see without numbers, but the split between the Russian market and outside Russia. So we definitely has the largest part of our data labeling processes on our platform that come from clients from US, from Europe. So right now we definitely can say that Toloka is a worldwide platform, is not a platform only for Russia. The question is what helps with our growth, and we believe that we have at least 3 most important pillars here. First, we know that we have the most efficient technology under the hood among all the other platforms for labeling. The second part, that we have Tolokers practically in all countries of the world, speaking practically all languages in the world. And third, we apply product-led growth. This means that we create a product which grow through engineers, and we observed this during the past decades of Toloka service inside Yandex, because we grew inside Yandex and then outside Yandex only through engineers. So engineers use Toloka, they after that love Toloka, and then try to use this product in other places where they work. Okay, let's shortly talk about these three parts. So the first part, we recently made some comparison with our competitors. We do not provide the particular names of these competitors, but they are very common, so everyone probably of you knows them. This comparison has been done on our site, and you can see that we provide the largest variability of labeling tasks. We have the largest crowd workers platform. We have a very competitive pricing. We have a huge accuracy, the largest or on pair accuracy, and very huge throughput. But this task has been done on our own, and probably some of you can provide and conduct research on comparing different data labeling platform and show some independent comparison. And one important part behind our technology is that we use machine learning inside of Toloka, because we believe that machine learning inside Toloka can improve our two-sided market and raise the quality. So the logic is as follows: we can, if you have more tasks, we will have more Tolokers. If we have more Tolokers, we have more data. And if we can leverage this data, we can get better matching between task and Tolokers. We can get better retention of Tolokers. We can get higher quality and higher throughput, which will mean for requesters that we are a better platform, and thus this requester will use us and thus provide more tasks. And this cycle will work infinitely. Just a few examples. So in one part, in one example, we can use machine learning to provide more information for a Toloker to improve their informativeness of their choice. For instance, here you can see that we provide some expected earnings that this particular worker can get on this particular task within a day. In fact, we even conducted a very strong research that we have published at KDD in the past year. If you want to learn more, you can read this paper. And another example that we can use this information to recommend tasks for people. For instance, we have a special button where Tolokers can click and get the most recommended for them tasks. As a result of all our machine learning applied in Toloka, which is not the final step, but some maybe a starting journey of machine learning in Toloka, we get a lot of successful things. First, we conducted one of the experiments provided us more than 30% of improvement in Toloka retention. Another experiment provided us significantly, statistically significant improvement of labeling quality for requesters, depending on requester tasks and their level of fine-tuning of projects. And we also get some PR output. For instance, well-known Professor Saif Savage state that Toloka is a worker-centric platform. So we care about our workers and performers. Okay, the second part is global crowd. Here you can see that we right now cover a large amount of countries and cover the most largest languages. So this is just a statement. So what we have done in the past year when we grew globally outside of Russia, that we solved the chicken egg problem, because this is one of the most tricky problem for two-sided markets. So if you have no tasks in English, you have no executors in English. If you try to get executors or performers or talkers from different countries where there is no tasks, you are not able to retain them. And we solve this problem right now. So we have some balance between tasks in different languages and talkers in these different languages. So right now, every one of you can use us to solve any problems and use us to go global. So if you have some great product that you have created for Russia or for Russian language, you can easily scale your product and system service outside of Russia just because you will be able to label and get data in different languages. What is important, I want to say about talkers and automation, and this will probably be the next topic of our conversation and the panel discussion, is that we have a long-term trends. So automation is a very long journey, has long journey connected with not only machine learning and artificial intelligence, but maybe hundreds of years. So, and this is artificial intelligence is one of the steps of this automation. And given the automation, we have different processes. First of all, we collect and improve the automation either by supplying more data or by including humans and combining the collaboration of humans and automation. But at the same time, automation carries some disaster in some sense that disappear a lot of professions well established. So, and this comes with some employment here. And you can see that in the blue boxes, we have different doubts of humans in the sense, is it a K process? Yeah, so we get a lot of unemployment. Machines will use humans as slaves probably. So, and this is a very tricky process, and there is a lot of pitfalls for humans here. So, as I said, there is a lot of risks for mass professions, and there is a lot of questions how data are produced, how human being is used to improve this automation. And we believe that Toloka cares about humans in the AI era. So we cannot avoid this automation process, but we for sure can care about the outcomes of this process. And for Toloka as an instrument for the improvement of AI, and at the same time Toloka works with humans, we offer different important things. First, for talkers, we know that talkers prefer freedom in terms of place and time for work. And for sure, they need a fair and ethical task assignment. On the other side, data requesters or machine learning teams that are trying to improve the artificial intelligence, they care about the quality and obtained results from human labeling. And Toloka is, we believe that Toloka is a good solution because crowdsourcing environment, at least our crowdsourcing environment, provides flexibility in choosing and switching tasks and working hours. We can, and in fact, act fairly and ethically in task assignment. And for sure, we work a lot on improving mechanism design of our platform to properly align the above mentioned incentives. So this is a very important part because what we observe in data labeling right now, that all the solutions for data labeling and even scalable data labeling are about putting a lot of people in hangars or hire people in very, very poor countries and put them in hangars, sending them tasks without choice, insisting that they should work they should work in particular time zones, in particular time frames, probably 8 hours per day looking for not very good content for moderation. Imagine that you moderate some content related to poor video or some video which is not appropriate to show for children. Are you able to moderate such content for 8 hours per day? I'm not sure that anyone in the world can do this without some unfair and bad consequences for you. So in Toloka, we offer the ability to choose tasks, the ability to choose what you do and when you do and the place where you do this. So the third pillar of our growing SOC, of our success related to our growth, is that in fact our platform is a day-to-day instrument for professionals in AI industry. So it is an instrument for data scientists, it is an instrument for machine learning engineers. So it's an instrument from using which you can get labeled data and get data by your hands. So it is up to you to get this data without any negotiations, without any work with data providers. You can just connect some Python library, write a code, and if you know how to work with humans, as similar as you should know how machine learning system work, you can get the best quality of your machine learning system product or everything else. So this is why in Toloka team we invest a lot of to improve the AI industry and improve the experience of people that work with machine learning. We invest a lot in top tier conferences. This is not about sponsorship. This is about, in fact, that we contribute with our research papers, we contribute with our workshops, our tutorials, and you can see that not the whole list of top tier conferences for which we wrote papers, provided workshop and tutorials. We invest a lot of efforts in education people to show that data is an essential part of machine learning pipelines, and this part has impact on the final quality of the same level or probably higher level than machine learning model. So if you work only on improving your machine learning, you will not get the best quality in the world. If you work both on improving your data and on improving your model, you always will win and beat your competitor because you care about both parts of machine learning pipeline. If you outsource data labeling to somebody else, then you get the same level of quality as your competitor. So, and for Yandex, for instance, it will be the same situation if you outsource machine learning modeling outside of your company. If you outsource everything about your machine learning product, then you have no chance to build the best machine learning service or product in comparison with competitors, because all your competitors can build the same product of the same quality because this competitor can make the same outsourcing. So this is why we invest a lot of efforts in education, because if you know how to cook data labeling, how to cook crowdsourcing, you will be a professional that will grow significantly in comparison with your colleagues, because you will understand how to get better quality from machine learning. So we have a lot of things that we do with different universities. You can see the list below. And recently we published open free course, online course at Coursera that everyone can pass and understand how to build machine learning pipelines that care about data. And also we contribute a lot to open source. What we have learned in the past year is that Toloka is a product for engineers. We learned that classic cold sales do not work well from scratch. Toloka is in fact is growing through end users, so engineers who use it and recommend it to colleagues. In fact, if we make our product more convenient for engineers, we strengthen our reputation, and in fact we improve our visibility and good reputation among the professional community. For instance, the results of all our work can be seen here. That, for instance, we have been mentioned in the same role that Mechanical Turk in one book about machine learning. We also have been mentioned in Gartner Hype Cycle report, and for instance, we have presented some new data set at a prestigious data-centric AI workshop that has been conducted in the past week. So in fact, that we also found out that this is not some new approach to growth. This approach is called product-led growth, which is there is in some sense hype that every product should grow through this approach. And the last example from this approach is that we can worked with machine translation conferences and improve their machine translation systems on pair with huge giants, so Microsoft and Meta. Meta is a Facebook right now. So you can see that Toloka is improving the AI industry on pair with Microsoft and Facebook. So summing up, we are moving from internal infrastructure to global business. In the very beginning, we just help Yandex search. Then we help all Yandex services. We help AI industry in Russia. And right now, our ambition is to help the entire AI industry in the world. We feel ourselves like this because we have to do a lot of work. So it's very non-standard situation for every one of us. So we have to work hard. We have to understand where we are going, and we scale our team 2 times each half of the year. So it's very challenging for us. What is important and why it's very interesting that Toloka is in fact has at least 2 products or 2 directions for products. So we have products for machine learning teams and we have products for Tolokers. We work with machine learning teams from the best companies in the world. Our product brings value to people, both. So this is a product. It is not a product that just for entertainment, right? So it's a product that brings particular value for Tolokers, and this product is also important for people that build machine learning systems. Inside Toloka, we have a lot of machine learning research and math. So if you will talk with at least a half of our team, you will see that there is a lot of interesting tasks here. Important also think that we are not growing through servicing, we are growing worldwide community. So we have a lot of people in the world that want help us, that want help other machine learning teams. And finally, our team is global. So English, for instance, is our main language for communication. So if you want to grow with the growth of Toloka, you can do different things. First, you can join our community and develop crowd management methods in our open source libraries. You can also collaborate and make joint research for us. Another direction, you can use Toloka for your business or build your products based on Toloka. And finally, for sure, you can join our team. Here I have made a very short list of references on what points you can touch and learn more. And you can see there is most of these points are about contribution to the AI industry or about the impact on the AI industry. For instance, we have grant program for researchers. We have open data sets. We have zero commission for students and universities. So if you are a student or university, come to us and we will reduce our commission on top of payments to Tolokers to zero. So you will not pay for us, you will only pay to Tolokers. We have a lot of educational courses. For instance, there is a self-study guide and there is also open course at Coursera. We also help educators, so teachers, professors that want to educate and start courses at their universities. So we have a program for that. Just visit this web page and you will be able to learn how we can help you. We have open source libraries and benchmarks, so you can contribute to our GitHub library and use this library on your own. We have a lot of research work and workshops, so you visit our website of our research and feel free to reach me or anyone in this web page to collaborate on the research. And we also have professional communities that you also can join and discuss any problem related to data labeling and machine learning. So I think that's all from me. Thank you. So you can ask question and I will just move to another place.
Yes, we hear your kids really like the cartoon with the dog. It's really nice. Okay, so, but I assume you hear the questions, right? So, any questions, comments from here,
yes,
from
please.
Dmitry?
No, thank you, Alexey, for your talk. It's nice to see you here online. And the question is from, I don't know, a modest researcher request. What if we have, for example, a problem on image recognition and we need to involve doctors? It might be like skin disease, Lyme disease, in Russian, borreliose. What we need to do to hire experts, the other doctors, via your system? Is it possible?
Very good question. Let me return back. Here. So yeah, the very good question. So the question is how to build expert labeling, because for sure not any task can be done by random people, because it's very hard to explain what you should do, and sometimes it's this person should be educated to understand what we are asking. Our approach, what we observe, is that in fact, we met such problems in Yandex when we worked with different teams. So in fact, the journey of Toloka was as follows. We come to some team that wants to get some data labeling, and we offer some some scalable approach through Toloka, and they say, no, you're not able to solve our problem. There is a lot of tricky questions here and here. You should care about everything. So no, we will not use you. We will do this on our own. Then maybe after 6 months or maybe a year, this team comes to us and say, we have problems with scaling. We are not able to scale our, I don't know, some proficient moderators. We have a problems. Help us. We need to scale, but we are not able to scale. So the answer, the short answer from this story is that crowdsourcing is in fact an approach where you do not just involve people from crowd that just can do simple task. Crowdsourcing is primarily, and if probably you will join our webinars or tutorials or online course, crowdsourcing is about decomposition. So this is a crucial part. So there are people, and in fact, this is a part of work, probably maybe of machine learning engineers or dedicated people that we call crowd solution architects. They decompose a complex problem in small problems that can be done and that are very easy to be made by random people without any education. And here is the part of answer, because you need to involve experts to decompose the task to write instruction. For instance, if we talk about some medical experts and you have, for instance, label some cancer on some photos of something, for instance, cancer on skins, on photos of skins. What expert can do is to write a proper instruction and derive how to understand some signals, whether this picture is relevant to cancer or not. So, and we usually use expert to decompose, to get this expertise and understand how to decompose the huge task, for instance, labeling cancer in different tasks. For instance, you ask Tolokers to indicate whether some picture has some form factor or not. And after that, when you decompose it, you run the data labeling pipeline in a way that you solve most of problems and solve most part of the your problem through the crowd, and only important part of this work is done by a small number of experts. This is just the answer about the methodology. Considering the particular answer about hiring or acquiring experts inside the Toloka, right now we are working on including experts in the platform. Right now it is not available from scratch, but if you have a project where we can make a piloting, we are feel free to talk with us, because we had, I guess, 3 or 4 projects related to medics, where we try to involve them, maybe not through the pure Toloka, but through like some sense of assessors, where they label data, and in future we will pack them in this box. So you can see that we include humans, experts, and crowd. We assume that in this way we will be able to provide some boxed solution. Under the hood we will have experts and crowd. But if you want to apply your design, you probably need to involve your experts. So this is a short answer.
Yeah, thank you. We'll try to contact you together with my collaborators from US. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thanks.
Thank you, Alexey. Very interesting. And I have, from different aspect question. You collect a lot of data on your Tolokers, right?
Yeah.
How deep is your profile of these community members? Do you know a lot of them? Do you kind of visualize them? Visualize this profile? What do you do with it?
So let me make a segmentation of your question. So your question is about how we can target Talokers for a requester. So imagine you have some labeling task and you want to make some targeting. So you want, for instance, you want people from particular country, from particular language, with particular device, for instance.
Yes, that's clear case
device
of using this profile, right?
Yeah. So, and all this, so in fact, you can filter. So if you are a requester, you can filter and design this targeting in a very huge number of dimensions. So you can ask people, so I want for my task people with this level of education, with this language, from this country, with this device, that have some else here. In one point that you need to understand is that all these things are provided on behalf of Talokers. So if Talokers says that I have a university degree, that this is only his opinion. If you want to check that this degree is really university degree, you have to run some verification tasks. So let me elaborate more. We have some overview of profiles in our blog, so you can visit our website, or I can send you a link where we conduct several times per year some review of our cloud, and we share the structure or statistics of over Talokers with the community. This is one point. Another point, when I talk about verification, we also, for instance, for language, yes, you need to, for instance, make a task in Japanese. And in fact, in the past year, we implemented a tool when we verify these language skills. So you can not just rely on the answer of a Toloker, but you can also rely on our platform that we somehow verify this language, so we can use this skill. Probably your question was also about how we use this data to improve our platform. We use some of this data to improve our ranking and task suggestion. So it's like in any machine learning system, you have some information about their task, you have some information about an executor, and you can use this information to improve some systems in your product. Probably, I guess you want ask to make some research. We can make some collaboration to research something about Talokers. We are very free here.
Okay, thank you. More questions, comments? So thank you again, and we gradually switch to our final slot in the AIST program. Okay, it's called Roundtable. Let me open the slides. Do you see my slides now?
Yep.
Okay, good. So you see my slides, you hear my voice. Okay, this is already said. We are kind of closing our conference, and yes, last year AIST was completely online, and we are gradually trying to go back to offline, but many of us have already kind of gave up and decided that complete offline is not possible. So this year we are hybrid, and probably that will be the next our future for the conferences. I see some questions in the chat. Yes. Okay, so our conference is distributed. So some people are here in Tbilisi, some are over the world, but also it's asynchronous, because according to my experience with such events, quite many people just look, just see the recordings, and we consider them also as participants. So you are welcome. Hi to everyone who is looking us just one day, 1 week, or a couple of years later. And this round table is also not real round table, because some people ask me where will be the table and where which chair is mine. So it's kind of a metaphor. So every one of you is a participant. So I have prepared some slides just to give some direction, to ask some questions, and we will have some online voting. I would ask Jana just to put the link into our Telegram chat, so that you can, yes, you can answer the questions and you'll see the results. But also, I hope you'll have this opportunity for those who join us later. So we'll speak about ethical issues and social challenges of data science. And this topic, 10 years ago, when we started this conference, that was not a topic at all, because data science was just at this beginning, and we all believe that definitely this new technology will make the world better, and there is nothing bad could be in just researching new algorithms, new tools, and whatever. But unfortunately, the situation is not that simple. So, okay, yes. And it's typical for research presentations. I'll start from introductory example, and this is about automobile technology and road traffic. And the picture is from 19th century, and this is really the automobile powered by electric batteries. So here are some not very pleasant but facts on road traffic from World Health Organization, and the numbers are quite not optimistic. Like more than 1 million people die every year as a result of road traffic crashes. Some even more suffer from non-fatal injuries. This is mostly related to low and middle income countries, and yes, and the last point is also very sad, that road traffic injuries are the leading cause of death of children and young adults aged 5 to 29 years. So we are speaking about very common technology, like everyone uses it. And you see, our conference lasts for 3 days. And according to this statistic, during these 3 days, almost 10,000 people died in traffic, but we did not see that on news. No one discussed it like a pandemic issue, because, okay, this is just ordinary technology drawbacks. And if you go deep into the factors which lead to such numbers, you see the list. That first one is speeding. The second one is driving under the influence of alcohol and other psychotropic substances. Then non-use of helmets, seatbelts, and other tools. Distracted driving, people text and speak and do whatever during driving. Then the fifth factor is unsafe road infrastructure and vehicles. And the last one is inadequate law enforcement of traffic laws. And if you try to analyze which of these factors are really related to humans and which are related to technology. You see that, in fact, all of them, okay, probably not the fifth one, but okay, again, almost every factor is about the user, not the technology, not the environment, not the weather condition, but the users. And even the fifth one is again about the people, because people are responsible and accountable for maintenance the traffic, right, for making the roads good, etc. So that really changed the view, because when researchers develop new technologies and do new tools, they have in mind like some well-educated user who is nice and with good intention, and you like to make his or her life even better, developing some new algorithm. But in fact, in most cases, the user will be like this pirate, the guy who doesn't care about speed limits, who is driving under alcohol influence, etc., etc. But that's the truth. But people really discussed it during the conference. That's why I decided just to read this topic. So the first question I would like you to answer is the following: who do you think is responsible for inappropriate use of technology, which, as you saw, can lead to substantial damage? And possible answers are create engineer, scientists, or producer, manufacturer, end user, government, or someone else. And let's go from the bottom. Definitely, many people believe that it's parents who teach us, the school who makes us this way, and the influencer on the web who just showed us that speed limit is nothing. But this guy will tell you, okay, no, we're just doing our job. Parents, we work hard to make some food for our children. Schools say that, okay, we are just service. We just teach some basics. And influencers, okay, we just record our stupid videos to get some followers, and we don't intend you just to repeat what you're doing. So I assume the last one is not the correct, because, okay, it's not the case. Then the last, the previous one, government regulation. Okay, government will tell you, guys, you know nothing, almost nothing about new technology. It's yes, we just regulate some, we studied probably some law, some economics, and we try to do what people expect us to do. We just make some laws and you don't follow them. So our hands are clean. So probably it's not government or regulator who is responsible for the damage. Okay, then we can say, okay, probably it's the end user who is responsible, but the guy's, okay, I'm not educated at all, again, in average. I just got this car. Okay, I'm probably not millionaire, so I got car which like 15 years old, but it's still running, and I'd like to feel good, to impress my girlfriend. So I just push this speed up button. Okay, no one told me that it's dangerous, and I thought that it doesn't care. So end user will not be happy to take responsibility. And for some cases, he'll be first to blame the others, because you just gave me this car, I was sure it's safe. You just gave me this technology, I just pushed this button, I expected everything will be good, and it was bad. So end user is not the one who will take responsibility. And okay, then producer, manufacturer, distributor, these guys are just doing business. They say, okay, we have government, we have all these organizations who gave us a lot of different regulations. We try to follow them all, and at the same time, they're just trying to be profitable, right? So we're just doing our business, and we don't care about anything else because we don't have time, we don't have this education, we don't know nothing. So we're just doing our vehicles, we're just doing our technology. We don't care about, and you probably saw already some of our speakers before just said, okay, we are doing our business. We're trying to get some more customers, more money, more sale marketing, whatever, but we are not responsible for the damage. So as you see by just exclusion, most probably the guys who are researchers are responsible of doing research of something which could be dangerous. But my impression from this and other conferences that researchers also don't care about implications, because we have in mind this perfect user who is not well. Okay, you see. So the question is already online, right? So people can answer it, and so please just join our audience. As I mentioned, this conference is just a mixture of different technologies like Zoom, YouTube, and all this Google Slides, whatever. And permanently something doesn't work. So if the voting doesn't work, just that's okay. But I hope to show you some results. So let's move to the next question. And the next question is directly related to the data science. Again, if you speak, people try to speak. Why do people need data science? Each of them has in mind some good example. Definitely, we will improve lives of like everybody, make something difficult more simple, etc. But here is a list of really real examples, real challenges of using data science for not that good reasons. And I would ask you just to choose the worst one. Doesn't mean that those are not that worst, but just read them carefully, decide which one is the worst. So first of all, data science is now widely used for military purposes in cyber warfare, weaponized vehicles, drones, etc. So number one. Second, automated propaganda and disinformation campaigns. So now this technology is so cheap that just a couple of guys can organize a huge campaign on the web of some fake news, whatever, and that could have a lot of extension, very serious damage. So that's another issue. Number three, surveillance, control, and social sorting based on face recognition, sentiment analysis. We like face recognition, we like sentiment analysis. Here, a lot of papers now did. And usually we think, okay, definitely it will be used for sport clubs. If you go to a sport club, then face recognition says hello. But guys, believe me, there are quite other options to use this technology, and not all of them are that nice. So social control and social sorting, like some system recognize you and say, okay, you are not that good to enter in our sport clubs. Okay, so another not good use of, not really good, probably for some is good, of data science. Number four, criminals also can use, I mean, just real criminals, because the previous items are not about criminals, but some, okay, specific use for some specific context, but some real criminals can also use artificial intelligence tools to improve their attacks, to make them more sufficient, more successful. Then point number 5 was already mentioned by several speakers already today, that artificial intelligence leads to job losses, from massive job loss. I was surprised that today Aleksandr said that even web designers can lose their job, because do you remember his example that machine learning can produce some sketch, and then you don't need professional designer, you just hire someone low level skills just to make it slightly better. But I believe this part also could be automated too quite soon. So people will lose their jobs, lose their salaries, and will not be able to join your sport club with face recognition and whatever. So another issue. And number 6 is unfair or biased algorithms, harmful or flawed AI products. So many people may deceive themselves by saying that software will work perfect. But we are part of this industry, definitely know that each software has defects, right? And surely AI software will have defects too. And assume that this software decides like your life question. And then there is some, okay, sorry, that was a bug. We'll update the system tomorrow, and you will get your mortgage soon, or your your money, you need like credit for your like, okay, wedding vacation. Whatever. Okay, you'll have your wedding vacation next year because today you're fixing bug in the AI system who decides whether to give you money for that or not. You see? So the other question was also online. Yes, people are able to answer it. Okay, let's keep fingers crossed and try to open the results, right? Okay.
Rostislav, it seems that your question 2 is the question 1 in the poll that you sent.
That's just small bug. That's okay.
But
so
let's vote for the other question 1.
Okay, so do you see like, okay, the distribution is quite even. So no one believes in tailored cyber attacks by criminal hackers. Okay, hackers will know. Hackers, do you hear us? You should not use cyber technology. We don't believe in that. And also automatic propaganda and disinformation campaigns. Okay, the number 1 answer is okay. So people are fair that yes, the guys who develop AI products know that they have bugs. Would be harmful. Okay, and we can switch to, I have to switch to the next question. Okay, who is responsible? Yes, surely it's not us who is responsible. Government is responsible for inappropriate use of technology. Okay, I'm quite surprised. Okay, and also manufacturer. Okay, the guys who produced the gun is responsible for the murder. Yes, that's what we are saying. So we should stop producing weapons. You don't see? Okay. How to do that? Let me. Yes, no. I need to stop demonstration and then start another one. This. Yes. Do you see now?
Yes.
So this is question 2. Yes, in my slide was question 1. Who is responsible for inappropriate use of technology? And okay, I don't know. Жанна, можем обратно вернуться на соседний, на первый? Yes, and this is the answer to the first question. You see that number 1 is bugs in software products, then military use, then social sorting, and job. And some people believe in automatic propaganda. Okay. Okay, and now I would really ask if someone can just defend his or her own opinion, who voted this or that way here or online. Yes, please. Can you just come here so the people see you?
I think all these factors and all these actors interact to each other very intensively, and we cannot choose someone. In the 21st century, economics, politics, and techniques very intensively interact, and we understand that worldwide disaster will use nuclear and artificial intelligence and all other technologies and criminal and government and special services and industry all will take some role in this situation.
Okay, so you believe that, okay, yes, I understand your point that each item is disastrous and dangerous, but combination of them will kill the world. Okay, not that optimistic. Someone else maybe online? Okay, I assume no, because you are probably. Okay, someone? Iosif?
Well, I think it is flawed AI in good hands or perfectly working AI in bad hands. So combination of two. So either we have a flawed AI and we experience problems from that, or our enemies have a working AI and it is the most dangerous use of data science.
Okay, but in first case, when criminals use perfect AI, then it's clear who to blame. But if we, like good guys, use unperfect AI system, then who to blame? Developers and testers?
No, all owners of technology. So whoever owns the technology and manages the process. So in reality, when you own a gun, you own a gun. When you own autonomous vehicle, most of its software is owned by some IT vendor, and you are not able to do anything about it. And also for the quality of software, only owners of technology are responsible for the quality of software. They assign managers, they assign software testers, software developers, etc.
Okay, thank you. More comments, questions?
I can comment also. Do you hear me?
Yes, Alexey. Yes.
Great. So I believe that this is not a new problem and new questions. They raise permanently, maybe over decades or centuries. So it's just connected with humanity, and if you don't want any of these consequences, you just need to stop the development of humanity. So as I said before, we have some trend on technological progress or progress of humanity, progress on automation. There are things that we improve everyone. So if somebody will not improve a technology, other people will find out how to improve and automate something. So you cannot stop it. You just need to be responsible and understand how such things evolve. Right now, AI is something new, but probably in 2-3 decades, it would be very convenient to use any of these things, agree with all these consequences on not of them. Some of them will be mitigated by some things. And if we talk about some responsibilities, so responsibility for sure comes from all of us, but for sure the developers of products should care about the risks and the consequences. But if we talk about some job losses or something like that, but there is a lot of examples in past. So before vehicles, we had horses. Horses also killed a lot of people. There was a lot of professions related to horses. But why we had horses? We had horses because people wanted to communicate and
To work less.
No, they wanted to travel and communicate. So then solved the problem through horses. And I believe that there were different seminars and workshops at the beginning of the era of horses to discuss these horses is horrible.
Social changes of yes, social and ethical issues of course. Yes, I agree. But I hear you're quite optimistic. Okay, also that
you are not able to be not. So, can you change something?
Yes, so what you're saying, this path,
I believe
path is unavoidable, right?
Yeah.
So
we have to understand that this is not something. So generally, all these processes are not new. They seem new because this is a new technology, and for sure there will be a lot of new things that come with adoption of technologies. But okay, maybe five decades ago we had we have no computers.
Do you hear me? I'm sorry for interrupting. Consider another example: nuclear weapons. It was developed. Okay, it was unavoidable because physics was quite strong. But at some point, people agreed to ban the nuclear weapon, and now it's kind of forbidden research. What if the same
I'm not sure that this blocked research on nuclear weapons.
So maybe we should block and ban and forbid. Okay, please, Iosif. Yes, let's one by one. Iosif, please, you.
Well, nuclear weapon is a perfect reference, and they are not banned. So, what can be worse than having nuclear weapon? The only worst thing is when people you profoundly disagree with have it and you do not have it. So it is a perfect analogy when your adversaries have something that gives them enormous power and you do not have it. And the only way is the weapons race to make sure that you can retain your freedom, your values, etc.
Okay, what I hear, Iosif is not optimistic about people's ability to be smart and agree with each other, right? No chance.
There will certainly be no kumbaya moment in AI. Yes.
Okay, more Alexey, you intended something to add something, right? No.
No,
Someone
I
else?
agree with Iosif, so I think no. So I don't see any contradiction in what I said with nuclear weapons.
Okay, so let's go to my next slide. So number 3. So we discussed slightly the current state, and let's discuss the future. So now you see my questions again, right? So yes, the image of the future. So each of us has, okay, in dreams, say in some plans, maybe some image how the future will look like. I believe that most of people are optimistic. This image of future is nice and beautiful, but okay, the future is cannot contradict the present, right? Because it should be some at least consistent, right, is what we have now. And my next question is exactly about this. So just look around and you see that machines already control the world. Okay, they don't they try to hide it. It's not written everywhere. But if you just drive a car, who decides when you should stop and where should you go? Just some traffic light. It's a machine. Machine is like, okay, now go you stop, and then you see. So machines already control the traffic. Okay, next example already I mentioned today. Machines already decide whether they are eligible for mortgage or other credit at bank, right? It's not people who decide it, right? And quite long ago, like already 10 years, there are examples of robots who have like programmed decisions ability to decide to kill. It's not kind of wide context. It's not everywhere, hopefully, but still such robots already exist. And there are quite many cases when they use this ability, robots who decide whether this particular person should be killed or not. So, and you see already many critical decisions are already in the hands of the machines. So my next question, when do you think humans will be completely excluded from making life critical decisions? Because you see, people are weak, people are not good in intentions, people, okay, like Iosif said, never can agree or disagree on something. So the only solution I see is just to trust everything to machines. So this is my view of the future, of happy future, because I trust the machine. Okay, like I'm contradicting to myself because I said that machines always have bugs, right? Okay, in my future, you'll have perfect machines who will make perfect decisions. But anyway, traffic lights are imperfect sometimes, but anyway, they rule the road. And AI algorithms are not perfect, but anyway, they decide their mortgage. The same. So anyway, this is not related. Okay. So when do you think the imperfect or quite perfect machines will rule the world completely? So will it happen in 3 to 5 years? Because you see, for machine learning, if you just notice what happened within just like last 3 to 5 years in machine learning, just huge advance. So just another 3 to 5 years, and you'll have completely new world where everything could be ruled by machine learning. So I believe that this is quite realistic option. Another option, more conservative, 5 to 10 years. But this I'm completely sure. In 10 years, no, no option. Definitely machines will rule the world. Okay, if you are really conservative, you can choose option number 3. It will take more than 10 years. But just, guys, 10 years ago, AIST just started. So just another 10 years is not that big period. So we'll have AIST number 20. This is just, okay, not a big deal. So, and okay, I expect some of you may believe that that will never happen. Okay, let's see. So you can vote already, right? Okay, you can vote. So let's go back to the answers. Oh no. No. No one believes that in 3 years. Okay, doesn't matter how many hours.
I think the question is not really okay because it is not clear whether it is all life critical decision, most life critical decisions, some life critical decisions. Does it mean all life critical decision?
Well, okay, let me try. I believe it's quite clear. So I'm a mathematician, and okay, making strict definitions is my profession. So first, let's define what's life. That's not easy. There are different options, but okay, we assume that we can define what's life is. But it's all this, you know, robotics and artificial organs and everything. Okay, I agree that's not clear, but let's assume we know what life is. Then life. Then okay, during the life you make some decisions, like whether to choose this ice cream or that ice cream, right? And for each decision, you can compute like some risks of damage, right? And let's define some threshold, like 1%. So if this decision has like 1% of critical damage, okay, let's say critical damage is something like, okay, I assume it's already defined by lawyers. Yes, it's losing some damage will then your quality of life will drastically change after this, if this risk happens. Then, okay, we call it critical decision. And I believe just, you see, just recall our speaker from game design. We are already living in digital world. All our actions are already like in the cloud. So that's not that difficult to just get the list of all critical decisions in your life, right? Because, okay, there are many, but not that many. I assume that you don't make more than one critical decision during a day, right? So just, okay, a couple of thousands, 10,000 critical decisions in your life. So, and all of these critical decisions will be made by machines. Iosif, do you get this? Oh, okay, some say people here that it will not be my life anymore, but depends on character of your mother. You know, for some people it will be just okay. I already live like that. For some who are more about freedom, it will be not. But okay, who knows? So, Iosif, do you agree with such a definition of completely excluded from making life critical decision? I don't hear you.
That so sorry, we are talking about all decisions.
Yes, all critical decisions. Like I said, there are not more than 10,000 critical decisions during the person's life. That's my estimate. So each of them will be.
I think there is no need to me to do life critical decisions when there is no life left. So it is quite likely outcome, or at least it will no longer be human life to.
Okay, that's exactly the comment we had here in the room. So at this point, it looks like everyone agree. Maybe some other comment. But you see, we are. I believe this is a perfect slide to close our conference, because it looks like every single research people are doing is targeted at making this happen more sooner and sooner, right? Just think about your research contribution, because what you're really doing, you are trying to exclude people from making critical decisions, right? It's not the person who decides to be brute or nice during the conversation. It's not the person who decides how to drive the car, whatever. So just excluding people from critical decisions. And I believe next year, the number of answers below will be more. Okay, so at this point, we are kind of starting to close. And if anyone would like to add something, yes, Dmitry, please.
So your initiative to ask such intriguing questions, which are permanently asked, as Alexey told, at different venues and at different time and years. And I can propose on behalf of the preceding chairs to publish the results as the opinion paper. You know, in the preceding years, one of such papers were published by Andrei Kutuzov and collaborators, studying interrelationships between NLP conferences in Russia, some biases, but now it might be quite a good an opinion paper with poll results, even though the extent of them is not that large, but it can be included in the proceedings. So you are invited. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Dmitry. And also, I think you can put the same poll into the Telegram chat so that people who are currently offline can answer within just next week, and then we have much better statistics. And I completely agree that it will be very interesting to see what people think about all this stuff, and just to put it into a separate document.
Yeah, I did not have a chance.
I had just refining the questions a little bit. I think they have some room for improvement, to be fair.
Okay.
Yeah, it can be redesigned, but the first experience sometimes is the most important, like the intuition. It will tell you the right things to add, to correct. So even with such a poll, we can propose larger refined questions to be asked. So Iosif did very, how to say, good refining comments to what extent, which critical decisions and so on. So we don't need to formalize them with quantifiers as in the language of logic, but definitely this poll can be reworked as a bigger study. But this one deserves attention as a first attempt, I believe.
Okay, thank you, Dmitry. Any other comments? And as already said, our conference is not only distributed, but it's also asynchronous. So I suggest to make the closing ceremony also asynchronous. So people who are watching us later can just write some concluding comments into our Telegram chat. We just continue our discussion. And I really hope that next year we'll have another AIST, number 11, and just follow our news on Telegram, on Facebook, and just welcome to the next conference.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, thank you. So we are closing. Goodbye.